Early life and education. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. His father, Martin Luther King Sr., was a Baptist minister, and his mother, Alberta Williams King, was a schoolteacher. King grew up in a deeply religious household that emphasized education, faith, and social justice. King attended Morehouse College at the age of 15, where he studied sociology. Later, he earned a Bachelor of Divinity degree from Crozer Theological Seminary and a Ph.D. in Systematic Theology from Boston University. In 1955, the Civil Rights Movement. Martin Luther King Jr. emerged as a leader in the American Civil Rights Movement in the 1950s and 1960s. He advocated for nonviolent resistance against racial discrimination, inspired by the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. 1. Montgomery Bus Boycott 1955-1956. King gained national attention when he led the Montgomery Bus Boycott after Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger. The boycott lasted 381 days and ended when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that racial segregation on public buses was unconstitutional. 2. Southern Christian Leadership Conference SCLC 1957. King co-founded the SCLC, an organization that aimed to advance civil rights through peaceful protest and legal action. 3. Birmingham Campaign 1963. King led protests in Birmingham, Alabama, against racial segregation. He was arrested and wrote the famous letter from Birmingham jail, defending nonviolent resistance. 4. The March on Washington 1963. On August 28, 1963, King led the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where he delivered his iconic I Have a Dream speech in front of over 250,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial. The speech called for an end to racism and equality for all Americans. 5. Civil Rights Act of 1964. King's activism led to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which outlawed racial discrimination in public places, employment, and schools. That same year, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, becoming the youngest person at the time to receive the award. 6. Selma to Montgomery March 1965. King led a march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, to demand voting rights for African Americans. The march led to the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which banned discriminatory voting practices, later years, and assassination. In the late 1960s, King expanded his activism to include poverty, economic justice, and opposition to the Vietnam War. On April 4, 1968, King was assassinated at the Loren Hotel in Memphis, Tennessee, by James Earl Ray. His death sparked nationwide riots, but his legacy continued to inspire generations. Legacy and impact. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a U.S. federal holiday in 1986, celebrated every third Monday of January. His speeches and writings continue to influence human rights movements worldwide. Streets, schools, and public buildings across the U.S. are named in his honor.